You know what? I have a freaking problem. Since that, Silhawk is not doing the damn content that I've been asking him to do for weeks, and since that Ant Dude is basically on vacation for right now, I guess it's my job to review one of the most precious indie games out there. One of the most preserved. One of the most that a lot of people get horny over some pair of tits. We got Shantae. I know, it's a little bit weird to think about, but at the end of the day, let's go on with our introduction, shall we? To this day, people still think that Shantae is a Nintendo character only because of her appearance. Even though she has been on multiple different consoles, she has been on the Wii U, she has been on Nintendo Switch recently, so much shit has been happening throughout the entire lifespan of WayForward, the company who created Shantae. And let me be honest with you, this was what I was not expecting at all. But there's a couple of Shantae games that we gotta go over, but since I am poor, and since I didn't have my Wii U homeboot yet, we're gonna go for one of the first main targets, which is Shantae Risky Revenge. Now the game, Shantae's Risky Revenge, came out all the way in 2010, which means that it should be on Steam, Xbox 360 or Xbox One, PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4 around that time. It should be a great analysis, and it should be on PlayStation 5 by now. This is kind of interesting because this kind of looks like an SNES game. I'm going to be honest with you, because there was an actual Shantae Game Boy game. And then that was really it for everything else. And even Nintendo pointed it out throughout the Super Smash Bros. Spirit list. But I guess it makes sense because indie games were like really rare at the time. The only two back then was Cheetah Man and Shantae. And that was only Cheetah Man through 3 games and Shantae only through 1 all the way back then. It makes sense because most of the crappy games comes from LJN and Ocean, which are the people who created collab games like Star Wars, freaking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, all that other bullshit. Alrighty, enough chit chat. Let's actually start playing this dang game. So you start off by Shantae being her uncle's workshop, which means that officially she doesn't have a home. She's homeless. Oh my goodness. So then afterwards, you meet up with your friend, and after that your friend, well, we're just calling him Niel, tells you to bring in the egg that she promised to give to her other friend. So she decides to do that, and then afterwards she brings the egg. Simple enough, right? Well, here's the thing. This is where the final boss comes into the first boss of the entire game, named Risky Boots, the antagonist of Shantae. Now, whenever I first saw this, I did not expect to be so much, you know what I mean. This is a 10 rated, it's rated A10 plus. This game is rated E10 plus. What the fudge? I would understand teens, but 10 and up. As these people, I want to know what they're smoking. Because this shouldn't even be 10 plus. Let's continue on to the story. So you fight a freaking bolt of eyes, which possibly could be reminiscent from a Newgrounds game. I expect this boss to be in Castle Crashers. Come on now. This looks goofy. And if you're wondering if Shantae ever gets into a freaking sword fight, just like how Peter Pan did with Captain Hook all the way back in Peter Pan, the movie, that did not happen. It does not happen. She just stays on the boat and plans her scheme, which has to revolve around the pot plant. I forgot. This freaking lamp that you meet after you defeat the boss. And yes, this is one of those what the hell am I supposed to do? Where the hell am I supposed to go type of games. So you really have to pay attention to the dialogue, or you could just look up a tutorial on some YouTube channel or something like that. But who in the right mind are going to do that if they don't want to do it? Come on now, do I literally have to look up a YouTube video just to see where the heck am I going? That's so stupid. So your first ever encounter should be going to the forest first. You should always go to the first. And whenever you start the game, of course. But you don't even know that. You might even go to like the pumpkin patch area. You might even go there. But you just can't go there yet until you go to the forest in order to get to your first dungeon. Yes, Shantae is a mix between Mario and The Legend of Zelda, and I freaking love it. Other than Shantae's magical abilities, which we're going to get to later, why does she only use her hair to fight? This is my question. How is she not dead? I want to know how powerful this thing is. Because if this thing can kill monsters, it can most certainly kill humans. It would put men in immortal shame. Before you go for your first dungeon, you see that there's a lock on it, and there's a final boss. Not final boss, but the first boss in the game that is actually wanting you to give him a meal. How do you do that exactly? First, you gotta go all the way back to meet Miss Zombie Girl, Miss Bottoms. That's her name. Bottoms. Just call her Roddy. So you go to Roddy, and then afterwards, you find a pup. Then after this long dialogue that you just cannot skip, then you'll be able to go all the way to the chef's house, which is actually farther away from the dungeon. So you're gonna have to find all this willy-nilly. Who's ever going to figure out that you need to find a dog in there without paying attention? You need to read in order to even comprehend what the hell's going on. And even if you did read, you'll be misguided because this game is a 2D plane. I can give a benefit of the doubt though. I do like the 2D flipping around aspect. I like the aspect where you just switch around to 3 different lanes of platforming, kind of making it a 2.5D game in a sense. More like a 2.2D game in my opinion. But just saying, it's pretty cool. So that means that you can avoid enemies just by swapping to other areas, but you gotta make sure you go on that plate first before you do so. So your first task is to do that. But you can also explore around to see whatever caves you can find now. There's 3 special powers that Shantae can possess until the end of the game, but we're not gonna get there until otherwise. Then afterwards, you go in there and essentially you get this meal and then give it to the freaking octopus, which is the first boss in the game. Afterwards, you gotta make sure you traverse your way to this puzzle. Now, sure, it may not be Legend of Zelda confusing, but let me tell you this, if you don't know how to be precautious, you will die and die and die again. And whenever you continue on to upper level, you meet these mother truckers. I hate these flying purple bag craps. These reminds me of mosquitoes, and that's the one thing I hate. I hate them so much. Whenever you proceed to the game, you're gonna make sure you get enough freaking gems in order for yourself to upgrade. And how do you upgrade exactly? By going to the item shop, of course. What else? Through capitalism. Oh yes, thank goodness that this is not behind a paywall. Otherwise, I wouldn't know what to do. Okay, so we continue on to our adventure. And so far, this game has been pretty good. Despite all my complaints so far, because they're so minor. There's just so many upgraded kicks to this game. It's director's cut, of course, but it's still a fun game to play. The extra animations, cutscenes, or should we even call them cutscenes? I don't know. But it's very fun. After you defeat your first dungeon, and some miracle, I'm not going to spoil the whole thing, you gotta make sure you go back in order to go to the next level. Now, if you already played the game again, and if you try to go to the freaking mayor, you can't do so. Why? Mainly because whenever you use your monkey powers, which is your first ability, which by the way allows you to turn into a monkey and nothing else, to reach high places and climb walls, you're met with this dude. First off, how did Niel already got here without any superpowers of some kind? Maybe because he has climbing abilities too? But even if that was the case, how the hell did he survive all those enemies without using any sort of attack? Also, the mayor of the city fires Shantae at the beginning of the game. So what you need to do is go all the way back to the freaking first existence that you're playing as Shantae as, and go a little bit freaking to the left. You go through all this platforming until you meet up with this dude. And let me tell you, you have to at least, on average, go through this tremendous torture chamber of a freaking stage design 5 to 6 times. I hate this. This is freaking annoying. You go in there, you go all, whenever you die, go all the way back to the beginning. All the way to the beginning. And do all that again. Once you go through the torture chamber, you meet up with the mayor of the entire city that looks like a freaking giant version of a toad. Then afterwards, the freaking mayor gives you the deed, so that way you'll be able to give it to this other dude, which is not really important to the story after the game, after his appearance. He doesn't care. So after you give the deed to him, you support the entire freaking family. There we go. Can I go now?
No.
I still gotta go to my second dungeon to get the 3 magical seals, which is through this, and it's honestly kind of disappointing. So afterwards, the second labyrinth, it is not really a labyrinth, it's more of a test run. You test your skills to see if you have the brain cells to use these magical powers. And I'm gonna name all of them right now. There is the fireball, pretty self-explanatory. You throw a fireball by clapping your hands. It's simple enough. Next up we got the triple shot, which you get it throughout the middle of the game. Same thing, but it goes into 3 different angles. Now the only problem I have with this item specifically is that you cannot control it, you cannot aim, you really cannot aim anywhere, so you just gotta deal with the freaking angle perception. I don't know if this is actually supposed to be how you use it, but I really wish the A button would have been making a total sense. This would have worked for this. Just saying. Next up, we got ourselves the flamethrower. It's pretty self-explanatory here too. You have a flamethrower and you just use your hand as a flamethrower on this item, basically. This one is the most impractical because you gotta be so close to the person in order for the person to take some sort of damage. I do not recommend the flamethrower for this run. I do recommend it for any other scenario other than the run. Anyways, now let's go to the clouds. There is one that basically goes kablooey, the other one that's supercharged that goes big kablooey, and the other one that shoots lightning bolts. All of these, except for the first one, are not movable. The first one, you've got to move it by using your hair to defeat certain enemies like blobs, slimes, all the other enemies are annoying, and so much more. This one's actually one of my favorite, in my opinion, mainly because it's more practical. You get to use this more often than the other ones. Then afterwards, those are really the only 2 side items. But if you really want to get really technical and add in the ball, I guess that counts too. There's 3 different versions. 1, 2, 3. The third one being the best out of the all 3, but the second one being the most used. Because by the time that people are halfway done with the game, they're going to finish the game immediately because they don't care. They don't care about buying any more magic jellies. So the third one's the best one for the baller one. And that's really it. There's nothing else for Shantae to get other than a cream silk, which basically makes your attack for Shantae's tail a little bit more faster than usual, which is an upgrade, and also some heal potions and some magic potions, which is a reference from Wind Waker specifically, which is what I really love about it. And it's honestly kind of unique. I'ma give it that. Now the one problem I do have is whenever I go to Mermaid Cliffs, one of the final levels of the game, final, because you can't even go through it as a regular 2D platformer, you gotta get there at the end by using an elephant, which is actually another one of the abilities you get. Basically, just smash through boulders, rocks, and even rockmen. So, there's nothing wrong with the elephant. I just don't think it has any use in anything, other than just destroying stones, and that's really it. It is one of the most weakest elephants I've ever seen in a video game. I think Dumbo can even clap Shantae and her elephant for. That's how pathetic it is. would have made more sense if the damage would have maxed up at least to 5 hearts. At least. But nope. It doesn't want to do that again, I guess. But then you are requested to do a mission before you do the final level. You see, there is a request from these 2 people after you get the magical elephant. These are Booty Top's brothers. Poe, I forgot his name, but all I know is that Poe is the most goofiest one, and the other one reminds me of Vector for some reason. Anyway, so they basically ask you for coffee and coffee beans. Simple enough. And also a coffee machine. Then afterwards, you gotta make sure you have the audacity to find it in this forest. The coffee machine right next to the forest. The coffee beans are in the forest in a cave. Just letting y'all know, you cannot find it anywhere else. Because that's what took me the longest. That's the reason why I got 6 hours in Shantae. Because of the misleadingness. But it couldn't be that far, right? You should already know that, right? Wrong. So then afterwards, after you get out, you are greeted with your friend again that fixes the coffee machine and even makes the coffee. So now you gotta go to the level then. This is the part where you get 900 gems. Just spend it all on other stuff that you need. And other stuff that you want too. Along with a magic book that refills your magic. Now, I bought it anyways, but I don't see any use for this at all. Maybe for like more than 50 seconds that may work, but no. Not whenever it's like 30 to 20 seconds. It's basically useless at this point. So afterwards, you go inside of mermaid cliffs, avoiding those stupid freaking mosquitoes, along with the mermaid that has no freaking bra on. Please censor that, please. Anyway, so afterwards, you go inside of the building, and then afterwards, you are basically greeted with one of the most daunting, but not so hard labyrinths so far. If I was ever going to give you a tip on this 3rd labyrinth, I would just say it like this. Just go with the flow and figure out some puzzles. Switch the eyes into a certain direction. Because whenever I show this, you're going to have to mess with the eyes a little bit in order to go through different rooms. Which is actually one of the most interesting gimmicks I've ever seen in a Shantae game. This is my first one. I'm already impressed. My goodness, I really wish I could do better with that. I really wish I could do better. Then, afterwards, you meet up with the final boss, which is a blue version of Smurf version of Shantae's grandpa or uncle. I think it's more of an uncle, but she kind of looks like a grandpa to me. So right after Shantae defeats the imposter shows that the uncle is keeping a secret from Shantae. I don't know why that the uncle had to keep this a secret, because if that was the case, okay, let me just continue on. So afterwards, after you defeat the final boss, you go back in there and find the 3 golden octopi from this octopus that you recently defeated, with Shantae breaking the 4th wall. Now that is a great way to break the 4th wall. Oh my goodness. It is so hard to find all these. Wait, so about your 3rd labyrinth, you're already going to find the final magic of the entire game itself. And you be able to turn it into a mermaid. Yep, we're going all Disney now. Aladdin, The Jungle Book, and The Little Mermaid. Is that a coincidence? I think so. So, let's just continue on. So after Shantae turns into a mermaid, which basically allows Shantae to explore underwater, which is something that should have been done by human, but whatever. I'm gonna say this real quick. If you are trying to find all 3 octopi in one area, you're wrong. 2 of the octopi are going to be in mermaid cliffs. So you gotta go through inside these crevices. That means you gotta have to pay attention, walking, avoiding, and drinking more potions and wasting time and effort just so that way you get all the octopi. And after you send all the octopi back to the same area in your grandpa's workshop, you'll be granted with the freaking overpowered underwater item ever. It's the only item you ever use underwater anyways, and it's called the Fire Bubble Blast. Yeah, it's that crazy. So the Fire Bubble Blast, it's not that bad of an item. I really wish I could have used this as a potential for a final boss. Or should I say a boss before a boss before a boss. But they didn't. They missed the opportunity. They missed the opportunity. They missed it. Because right after Shantae goes inside of this cavern, which is where you need to go to, guess what it is? You guessed it, Mermaid Cliffs. You gotta go to the deepest part in that area, and it's not at the end, it's actually at the freaking 2nd octopi if you go into a straight line of order. So it's around here, not here. So you go all the way down, all the way to the freaking right, and you go into the freaking underground. Undersea Cavern is one of the most cool looking levels I've ever seen in a video game. Like, at all. Especially from 2010. It was amazing to see success on this level. The amount of time and effort that these developers put into this. Oh my goodness. This is work. This is good. Too bad they missed an opportunity there. They could have used the belt. They could have used the belt without risky boots. Is it really that hard to do? I understand common sense needs to play the role, but there's a literal battle bus. Sonic going fast. We got him with the Chaos Emeralds. Mario with the star power that makes him turn invincible. And we also got Link that holds a freaking harpoon that can break anyone else's arm except for Link. And you do not want to put the ship underneath the cavern? Come on now. What the fudge? The spike balls are really the only real obstacle, along with the black man. I'm not trying to be racist. I'm talking about these. Not him. These specimens. These daredevils. Can go somewhere else. They are just an avoidance. They're the weakest boss. They're the weakest enemy in the entire game. This is some things I just don't understand from Misty Boots. How come she didn't just grab a whole army of these sand dudes instead of these freaking little mother truckers? But, you know, I'm going to make my life simple. And again, please, I guess I'll do that just for you, Misty Boots. Anyway, so afterwards, Shantae goes inside of this invisible black cave. I mean by invisible, I mean by they can't even see the ground. Kind of that. Is there any ability that allows you to get some sort of light? Nope. You just gotta deal with it. So right after you go inside of the damn cave, you meet up with the final boss. Now, I'll give y'all a little warning. If y'all haven't played Shantae's Risky Revenge, consider this as a spoiler. Because this is going to spoil. Anyway, so afterwards, you meet up with Risky Boots, and after that, you somehow give out the 3 things that you have been obtaining, called the 3 magical seals, to Risky Boots. Only afterwards, after you defeat Risky Boots, for to trap all of Shantae's genie powers. How freaking smart is that, Shantae? You give all those 3 seals to her just to play. You basically played yourself, Shantae. You played yourself. It wasn't the uncle's fault. It wasn't Rudy Top's. It wasn't your friend. It was your fault that you give it to you give it to her. Now, indeed, you did it to save your grandpa or your uncle. But come on. Even he told you to not give it to her. You should have listened. Whatever. So afterwards, Risky Boots basically captures Shantae's powers and then transforms all the powers into an alternate evil version of Shantae. Now the animations doesn't make her look evil, but it does make her appearance look evil. Not her actions, apparently. I really wish that was the case though, because you know, there could have been a little bit effort into the animation throughout each expression for Shantae. I really hope that was in the game files. Whatever. I'm not the developer. WayForward created this game. I'm not WayForward. So afterwards, you are met with one of the most demanding but also cool soundtrack looking boss I've ever seen. The soundtrack's not that bad. It's not Live and Learn good. It's also not Mario RPG bad. You catch my drift. So yeah, it's a good boss fight. The one thing I do not understand though is whenever her powers are taken away, shouldn't all her powers be taken away? And if that's the case, why am I able to use a fireball against my own self that has magical power? Explain that, WayForward. Explain that. But, you know, it's WayForward. Magical powers are magical powers, and powers are used to obtain by Shantae. Everybody apparently can use it as well, since that they actually give her tips on which item to buy. Which means everybody else can use these powers. What was the whole dramatic part about not having powers? My brain cells are breaking, man. The final boss is awesome. 2 phases. However, the one thing I do have a problem with this game about, it's that it's just too short. I mean, yeah, it costs $10 into the Nintendo eShop. It's still too short. At least add an additional content on top of it and make it an epic final boss. Wow. I really messed up there, didn't I? I don't even think that this is going to be possible. What the fudge? Why am I shirtless? You really think you're going to defeat me all because of a Shantae reference? Please. What the fudge? I can't. Ah! Curse you! Oh my goodness, you're such a poor little innocent dude, aren't you? You can't even use the force. You don't even know how to use it. Unlike me. You think that using the force is going to stop me? As you can tell, I do have the sword indeed. You are obviously going to be defeated. I've been demanded by. Got the damn sword. Oh, you mother. You really think your pathetic little sword is gonna do any justice? No, but this will. Oh my goodness. Something for a little end finish. What? Oh, wrong, Bowser. What are you gonna do now about your sword, huh? What are you gonna do now about your sword? I didn't really want to do this. But you left me no choice. Meme activate 0.21114690669. Biden blast! Oh, no. Too bad he doesn't have the size shield. Tisk tisk. The one thing that Porky cannot manipulate. And so has the next person, whoever Mr. Esk is. I can't believe it. Hasn't even been a couple minutes and I already won. I wonder if things are going to. What the fudge? I'm back. Oh my gosh. Now I am wondering. Where's my shirt? Let me just go back to making editing a video real quick. For a $10 game, this game is hyped. This game is actually better than other $10 games. And I'm impressed. I am impressed. The abilities are good. I like the voice lines throughout each action Shantae takes, which takes a nod to the SNES genre. And not only that, they're even praising the SNES by using these graphics. I like the art design. I like the artwork that the developers have put it inside this game for cutscenes. Everything else is good. And to that, we get ourselves the final credits. Breathe in and breathe out. At this point, I've completed both versions of Shantae Risky's Revenge. Not the games, but the two modes. There is the Magical Morals mode, where you get to 3 hearts instead of 4 for a risk for Shantae to show more skin. The Shantae's magical mode is not really harder. It's more. It just makes you more edger. And to that concludes it. Now is the other Shantae game, on the other hand, going to be good. Well, that's going to be having to pick into determination throughout each episode. To that, I say I'm going to homebrew my Wii U and I'm going to review the rest of these games. Because I only got Risky Revenge on Nintendo Switch only for the sake of having a Shantae game, because I don't want to be considered as a simp over Shantae. Even though I am kind of a simp, I also want to play her games, mainly because it's a good introduction to introduce a new person into the Shantae series. And to that, I say thank you so much for watching. I hope everybody has a great day. To that, I am out of here. Please make sure to subscribe and leave a like. There we go.
for watching this video. Let me know if you'll want me to review more indie games. Just make sure it's 50 likes. I'm trying to get 1K subs by this year. Thank you.
I do not want to know what my boss is going to tell me about this. Hey, it's me, Hoster.
Houston? Hello, have you
Oh yeah,
What?
about that.
Wait, what the...
Let's just say that I've gotten defeated.
Defeated? How the hell you got defeated? What the fuck? What the hell, man?
It was hard, alright? It was my first time. It's just my first day on the job. Don't worry though. I do have a sword, and everything's gonna be sorted out. He doesn't have it. So.
Oh! Okay, you're so lucky you had the damn sword! Otherwise you would have been toasted! If you don't get him right now, you'll be dead! You hear me?
I'll do my best, Porky. But please, just give me a couple chances.
You better make this worth
as soon as
it!
as possible. Okay.
Better